As the end of 2020 approaches, millions of Americans are struggling to make ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck or out of work altogether. Poverty, hunger, and unemployment continue to rise as Congress and now the president stall on federal assistance. I'm joined now by someone who's dedicated his life to ending poverty in America, Bishop William Barber. He's the co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign and president of Repairers of the Breach. Bishop, we appreciate you joining us. I hope you're having a healthy and happy Christmas weekend. This has been a rough year for so many people because of the pandemic. What's your message to those who are in despair and who may be thinking about giving up?
Well, thank you so much for having us this morning. You know, my co-chair and I, Reverend Dr. Liz Theo Harris, we talk to so many people across this country who tell us that they feel like they're not essential but expendable. And we have to tell them that part of Christmas is mourning. We don't think about that often, but there's a scripture that says there was a sound of mourning in Ramah, Rachel refusing to be comforted. And we're telling people that they don't have to expect this. There's a sense in which we ought to be mourning in this season. Last night, unemployment ended. Less than a week, the moratorium on evictions expires, and millions of people could be forced out of their homes. Some studies say as much as 11 million people can lose their aid from programs. And this is the politics of meanness, and it's going to cost people their lives. And the only hope is for us to stay vigilant, for us to push the Biden administration and Nancy Pelosi and hopefully a new administration to, in fact, do the kinds of things in public policy that will end this nightmare, really, that many people are experiencing in this country, that it did not have to happen. 8 million people have fallen into poverty, 8 million more people since May. The pandemic is hitting us, but it's especially hitting poor and low-wealth people and killing poor and low-wealth people. And this didn't have to happen. This part of it was created by bad public policy, and it can be undone by better public policy. But what we see right now is morally indefensible, and it's literally economically insane.
And Bishop, I wanted to expand on that because there's a bill that was negotiated by the White House and lawmakers on both sides in Congress that the president ostensibly had control over, that now is sitting on his desk at Mar-a-Lago, and he is declining to sign it. He's stalling. What is your message to the president about this stimulus relief package?
Well, he's stalling, and notice you said at Mar-a-Lago. While he's fine, other people are suffering, and he swore on the Constitution to defend the rights of the people, to make sure that we establish justice in this country. And surely his actions, but all along his actions have not been this way. The bill was too small to begin with. The bill should have been larger. Tomorrow, I believe they will have an opportunity to expand it $2,000 for people to get $2,000. But what we really need, and we put it in an article in the New York Times this week, is we said that as we move toward a new administration, there's not much we can do about Trump. He is who he is. But when the Biden administration takes over, 55% of poor and low-wealth people voted for the Biden-Harris administration, 6 million more poor and low-wealth people than last time. They didn't vote for normal. They voted for change. And what we must have is immediate, targeted relief to poor and low-wealth people, Black, Native, white, Latino, that have suffered the most. We need to have guaranteed every American access to quality health care. We need $15 in a minimum wage and the right to form a union. We need access to affordable housing. We must expand the voting rights in next year. We must modernize the way the government measures poverty, and we must have a federal jobs program and forgive student loans and honor the sovereignty of our indigenous brothers and sisters across this land. And we must take care of immigration reform, because all of these fissures in our society have allowed this pandemic to spread even more. I would say to the president, stop acting like Herod in the Bible. You know, Herod was the mean figure in the Bible. Herod was the one allow public policy to destroy children. Stop acting like Herod and act like a human being and treat people right in these last few days of your administration.
Now, you did mention that piece in the New York Times, your latest piece. I'm glad you did. I want to read from it now. You write, quote, "From the Trump administration's tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans to the government's relief spending to shore up American corporations this year, we've seen what huge federal investment can do to lift the stock market. It's past time to see what the same level of investment can do to lift the American people." And Bishop, I'm curious what you would say to people who disagree, who believe that in the trickle-down model of the economy, that there should be an investment in business owners because then they can hire people, as opposed to giving out paychecks directly to the American people of a larger size. What would your argument to them be?
Well, we know that trickle-down economics doesn't work. You know, just recently the Pope in his encyclical talked about trickle-down economics, neoliberalism being some of the magic formulas, and it does not work. It doesn't serve the people. It's amazing to me that in the first CARES Act, we put 84% of all that money towards businesses, corporations, and banks. 84%. Only 16% went to the people we call essential workers, the people who uphold. We left them without health care, without guaranteed sick leave, without long-term protections. The truth of the matter is, if we invest from the bottom up, if we invest in the people who are actually keeping the society working, then that will actually build a society. If we put resources in the hands of the people, they spend that money, and that actually grows our society. It is strange to me that folk can say in the middle of a pandemic, billionaires have made nearly $1 trillion since May, $1 trillion. And we've added 8 million people to the ranks of the poor. That is backwards. It is economically insane. It doesn't make any sense. We need to invest from the bottom up. That's what brought us out of the Great Depression, and that is what will bring us out of this. We know from the beginning that the two fissures through which a pandemic gets its hold in a society is the fissure of racial disparities and the fissure of poverty, and we must close both of them.
Yeah, and aside from the loss of wealth and health, this coronavirus pandemic has just exposed the inequality and iniquities. And we're glad to have you on here sharing that message. Bishop William Barber, thank you so much for the time, sir.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Thank you.